Hello everyone, this is Adnan with another video on VMware Certified Professional VCP 6.7 and version 7. So in the previous video we created our architecture. In this architecture we created one Windows server, one ESXi host, and now we are going to explore what's in the ESXi host and how to do basic configuration, understand what are the components of this server. Also we are going to add a disk to our ESXi host. So I'm going to add an additional disk into ESXi host. In ESXi host, disks are known as data stores. Let's get started. So all I need to do is first of all log in to our network. So these are the two servers that we made. This is the folder. The servers are sitting outside, so I'm going to move them inside VCP folder, so that this is one lab. Windows 10 we were not able to install, so that's fine. We're working with at the moment Windows Server and ESXi host. So all I need to do is let's log into the ESXi host by using the root account. So once you log in, and if they're sitting on the same network, if they are pinging together, you won't have any issue shouldn't have any issue logging into the server. So ESXi host is sitting right here, and this is Windows Server. So I'm gonna just close this down. This is the main console of ESXi host, and this is known as the UI, and this is HTML5 client. In 6.7 now we will be connecting to ESXi host through HTML5 client instead of just a web client. So right here you can see this is the host, and here you can shut down the host, you can reboot the host, you can refresh it if you make any changes, and you can also create VMs. Here you can see the version of ESXi host. This is 6.7 and update 2, and then it is normal state. It's not connected to the vCenter. Here you can see the CPU, total number of CPUs on this ESXi host, memory, and the storage. And here you're logged in with root account on this server. You can search for anything. If let's say on this ESXi host you have 100 VMs, you can just type here the name of the VM and you will be connected to that VM. And on the same screen it's showing you this is an evaluation version of for 60 days. After 60 days it will be the license will expire, everything will stop working. So if you're working in an organization and you install this server for testing and then you install VMs, make sure that you buy a license and install the license on the server before the 60 days trial is over. Now here you can see the hardware that is attached, the hardware of the ESXi host. In our case it's a virtual machine, but in the real environment these are physical servers. So here you would see manufacturer would be IBM or Dell server or whatever the server is, and it would give you some more information, the memory, CPU, and the host name, IP address, and everything that is attached to the server. Here we have for networking, there is only one network card attached, and it is connected to VM network. Whereas in the storage there is one data store. Which is data store 1. So this is the data store, and capacity is 32 GB, from which 31 GB is available. Here you can see basic performance counter. The server is running, and it's running on about around 25% of CPU on this server. Here you can see some more information. We will be exploring more and more information as we go on. What is vMotion, what is HA later on. Next, here you can see that in manage you can find more configuration of the same server. In advanced settings you will find like some services and the components that are working on this server. We're not going to make any changes to this at the moment. We won't be changing this here. So these are the advanced settings here. Not gonna change anything here. Auto start setting is basically the setting where with which we can set up a setting. Let's say if this ESXi host is started, what should be the delay for starting the VMs. So when ESXi host is accidentally restarted, or maybe it is started on purpose, after 120 seconds all the VMs will be started on this server. Previously what used to happen, let's say if ESXi host goes down and or it is restarted, VMs on the ESXi host would stay shut down. All the VMs would die, and you would have to log into the ESXi host, and then you'll have to start all of the VMs again. But now with 6.7, now we have auto start feature, with which as soon as it is restarted, the server is restarted, the VMs on the server will be restarted as well. Here you can set up the interval, and here you will see if there are VMs, you can set up different interval for different VMs as well. So once we start creating VMs, you will see the list of all the VMs on the ESXi host. Then we have swap memory. Swap memory is basically a paging file memory. It's a temporary memory that can be used here. It is by default enabled, so I'm not going to change anything on this. Date and time is basically the time that you want to set up for all of the VMs inside this host. So you can connect to NTP server if there is internet access. NTP is the name, is the time server. Is the time server. It can be connected. It can be a public server or a private server. But in a private network, in a company network, that NTP server is mostly the domain controller, Active Directory domain controller, with the PDC emulator role. So most of the time, this will be this IP address will be the IP address of your domain controller with a PDC emulator role, and that time will be synced with all the machines, all the servers in your network. Secondly, here you have hardware. Within the hardware, it shows you the PCI devices that are attached with this. You have also power management here, change policy based on the power management policies. I'm not going to change anything here. This is where you have the license. So at the moment, this is evaluation version, and in evaluation version you can test all the features of VMware, vSphere, advanced features, enterprise level features, but vSphere comes in many different versions, like in Essentials version, Essentials Plus version, advanced, standard, enterprise version, enterprise plus version. So all of these versions have different prices and different features. So let's say in 60 days it expired, and your company buy a license, and you've got a license. You can go here and assign that license here. Your license will be registered, and you will continue to work with the same ESXi host. Then we have packages here, and then services. Services are basically where all of the services that are running in the background. Here, these are the supporting files that are working with ESXi host. I'm not going to change anything here. You can install more updates as well. Within services, the important thing is that these are the services that run basically the ESXi host. So for example, DCUI service, the console access is running. So with that, this is known as, here you can log in to the DCUI. This is known as DCUI, direct console user interface, which is this one. If you stop this service, basically this is the one of the core services, then you won't be able to log on to the server. Other than that, you can see most of the services are stopped, but there is a syslog service here that has detailed logging, and you can start all these other services as well. So for example, later on in another video, when we install vCenter, then this service will be started. Without this service, you won't be able to connect this ESXi host to a vCenter. So here it is called a VPXA. So just remember that for another video when we install this service. Same, we also have a SSH service, a secure shell service, with which we can log into the server through command line, or using maybe secure shell clients like Putty client and other clients. Here we have security and users. Within security and users, basically you can go to authentication. For now, Active Directory is not enabled. Later on, once we connect Active Directory with this environment, then we will join it to the domain. Here you can create more users in here. So for now, the only user that we have is root user. You can create more users and give them admin access, and you can log in with those users as well. So other than that, there is monitoring in place. So basic monitoring is already there, which is showing you their overall percentage of your ESXi host going on. You can change the CPU to memory, whereas you can also get the real-time statistics right from the first screen as well. So when you click on the host, remember that you see CPU memory usage right here. CPU memory usage is 1% use, memory is 27% use, and storage is 4% use. Okay, so with that, basically we can so here you can create more VMs, and so for now we don't have any VMs. We are going to create VM in another video. We have a storage here, which is basically shows that how many disks are attached to this server. For now, there is only one disk attached to this server, and the disk name is data store 1. Disks are known as data store 1. So let's say if I need to add more disks here, so let's add a disk, an additional disk on this ESXi host. Now, in order to add a disk into ESXi host, and why we are adding a disk to ESXi host based on our architecture, what I'm going to do on this ESXi host, I'll go to the properties of this VM, add a new disk, probably 100 GB of disk, and then we are going to activate the disk inside ESXi host. So first of all, I need to go into ESXi. So make sure you're adding a disk on ESXi host and not on the Windows server. So once the disk is added, it's like on the physical server, you're adding a disk. You buy a disk from the market and you're adding a disk to the physical server. Here I'm just gonna add a new disk. So in order to add a new disk, all you need to do, add a disk, and here this disk will be 100 GB in size, and the disk name will be taken after the name of the VM. Press OK, and once the disk is added, what happens is that the disk, if any new devices are added into the storage, you can go to devices, and here you can scan them. If the disk is recognizable, then you will be able to see the disk here, but in this case, since we have added a disk, we need to restart this ESXi host. And in order to properly restart the ESXi host, we need to go to, so I'm going to scroll down and press F12. So here I'm going to press F12 and provide the username and password. And here what I need to do is so it's just saying terminate, just confirming, terminate the VMs. We don't have any VMs, the server will restart. So once the server is restarted, then we're going to come back to the Windows server, and within the Windows server we are going to just rescan. We should be able to find the disk. Once the disk is here, then we're going to create a new data store. So the server is rebooting. Okay, server has successfully restarted. So I'm going to go back here and rescan. So once you do rescan, it should be, or I'm going to refresh. Now once I refresh, it should be able to recognize the 100 GB disk added to ESXi host. If it doesn't, then I'll have to relog in, and most of the time you don't have to relog in because we have already rebooted the server, and it should be able to recognize the new disk. So it's just taking more than normal. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna reconnect. Now one thing that I wanted to mention here, that it's better to use Chrome or Firefox for this, because IE is really outdated. So but here I'm using IE because I haven't configured internet on this. So here, let's see if I can go to storage now, and I can connect. And in the meantime, what we can do, we can enable internet and download Firefox on this. So in order to enable internet, first what I need to do is I need to go into the server settings and add a new network card for bridged. So while I'm doing that, the server is here. So from here, I'm just going to add a new network card, and that network card will be configured as a bridged network card so that it can provide internet. So I'm just going to leave it as is. So right here, all I need to do is that a new network card is added, and here let's first verify the storage. So I'm going to the storage, and here I do see 100 GB disk added. Okay, so now what I need to do, go back to storage, data store, or I can do it from here as well. All I need to do is to create a new data store. So the data store that I'm gonna add, it will be a VMFS data store. So VM file system. I'm just gonna go with the flow, and here I'm just gonna call this ISO disk. So here I'm gonna keep all the ISOs for the operating system that I'm going to use, ISOs for making the VMs. So I'm going to use the complete disk. I can partition this disk as well, but in this case I'm going to just use the full disk, and it's going to format the disk. So once the disk is ready, all we need to do is to go to the disk and upload one of the ISOs for the VMs. So in here I can go to data store browser, and within data store browser, this is the disk, and here I can now upload the ISOs. So in order to upload the ISOs, I can click on upload, but before I can do that, I need to bring an ISO on this server. Remember that we are on this server, and from this server it needs to upload the disk. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close this down for now. I'm gonna just minimize everything, and I'm gonna copy the ISO for server 2012 on this server. So here's the ISO that I can copy, server 2016, and I can just throw it right here on the desktop of this server. So once it is copied, then I can upload it to the ESXi host. Okay, the ISO is copied, and all I need to do is go to the storage and go to data store. So I'm in the storage, and in ISO data store I can upload this to so this exceeds the 4G limit. Yeah, this is why I was saying that we need another browser. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to download Firefox, and since we enabled internet, okay, so this is downloading. I'm not gonna download Edge. You can use Edge, or you can use basically Chrome. So okay, so I'm gonna download this as well, and at the same time I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna download the Firefox as well. So Firefox, it won't take much time. Download Firefox. So I'm going to pause the video while this download and install finishes. So it stops here. It downloaded and it's just saying that it needs to. Actually, you know, I am in the browser, so all I need to do is connect to ESXi host, and that is and here you need to go to advanced, go down and accept risks and continue, and here username and password. I'm gonna save this, and this is probably will be faster browser as compared to IE. So as you can see, this is already giving a good performance. Here I'm gonna go to ISO, go to data store and upload the ISO. So there was a limitation on IE, so that's why it was not uploading, but here it will upload. So once it uploads, then the ISO will be here. So in this video we explored ESXi host. We have also added a disk into ESXi host. Now we are uploading an ISO file. In the next video I'm going to show you how to create a VM in this. So I'm going to leave it running, and from the next video we're going to confirm that if upload was successful, and it will be successful, and at the same time we are going to create a new VM in ESXi host. Thank you for watching this video.